Let's cut to the chase and go straight to the point. Why are you here?
To remind the world that the Afghan refugee situation, after almost 40 years next year, is not resolved yet and cannot be forgotten. Without solving Afghan displacement, there will be no peace in Afghanistan.
When this is the problem, what is the prospect? It's related to the conflict in Afghanistan. So where do we go from here now?
The main problem is security in Afghanistan. I just met here in Peshawar with a group of young women and men, young Afghans, refugees here. Unanimously, they said this is the problem that prevents them from going back. And many of them want to go back, but they're afraid. They know also that war brings poverty, lack of opportunities, no schools. So I think that the root of the problems, there's many other issues in Afghanistan, but the root of the problem is violence, is insecurity. You know, people say Afghan refugees have never returned. People have forgotten. Millions have gone back.
We are sitting in the repatriation center.
And we're sitting in a
People are
repatriation
actually going
center.
back as we speak.
But of course, the insecurity means that fewer people are going back right now. So we have to hope for a more stable period, and then we have to invest, of course, in Afghanistan, in rebuilding the country, in building institutions and development programs.
There have been success stories as well. You just mentioned repatriation itself. But there hasn't been much focus on what's been happening between Kabul and Islamabad in terms of cooperation. Could you take us through some of the recent developments which excite hope and imagination that things can really turn around?
I'm a humanitarian worker, so I won't comment on the political situation. However, what we heard both in Kabul, where we met President Ashraf Ghani, and here in Pakistan, where in Islamabad we met Prime Minister Imran Khan, is that there is the willingness to talk. And in the framework that has already been put in place, the APAPs, there is a window for refugees, for solving the refugee question. This, to me, is a beginning. It won't bring a solution tomorrow, but it is encouraging.
And refugees have also been documented. The large number of people who are now being documented, which wasn't happening before. That's a great way to build hope on, right?
You know, I was in Iran before Afghanistan last week, and then here. And the effort that both countries, which are the largest refugee hosting countries, are making to document undocumented Afghans is really to be supported. Because, of course, documentation is protection. You know, let me say this. My organization, on behalf of the international community, is very grateful for what these two countries, and Pakistan in particular, have done in the past 40 years. But more help is needed. To simply say thank you is not enough.
Mark, you're dealing with an even larger number of people. The IDPs, as we generally call them, are much larger than the refugees as we know them. What's 40 million something?
40 million, more than ever before since we started collecting the data, yes.
And how does that connect you to the situation in Pakistan and Afghanistan?
Well, I think there are solutions that have been proven here in Pakistan which are relevant to Afghanistan. I went earlier today to Bara subdivision, which was almost depopulated during the fighting, and there were 100,000, tens of thousands of homes destroyed, up to 100,000 I think, 100 schools destroyed. I met communities who've got their schools back up and working again. I met lots of people who, through the cash grant on the bank card, have been able to buy the building materials to rebuild their homes. I talked to farmers who've got their first few harvests since the conflict, and there is a recovery starting to happen. What needs to happen, I think, a little bit more here, we talked to the Prime Minister about this yesterday, is to get all the institutions back in and working, and the join up of the former FATA into KP is a big opportunity for that. And as government becomes more present, and as we see more civil society organisations, especially Pakistani ones, playing their role, what we hope to see, and the Prime Minister certainly set this out as his aspiration, is an acceleration of that process. Now, exactly the same thing is needed in Afghanistan as well, to create hope and the opportunity and a sense among people that they can go back. And these solutions to displacement are the same the world over. Security, but then land and institutions and services.
So something to learn out of Pakistani experience. But I'll come back to the Pakistani model. Muhajreen ji, आपसे हमने बड़ी लंबी तफसील से बात करनी. अगरचे मैंने आपको कहा था मैं जी नहीं लगाऊंगा आपके नाम के साथ, मैंने गलती से कह दिया, आपको लगा दिया. आपका बड़ा कलीदी किरदार है इसके अंदर, शायद उससे ज़्यादा अहम है जो आप इस वक्त समझ सकती हैं, क्योंकि इस इशू को अभी तक किसी ने चैम्पियन नहीं किया. बट आई विल कम टू दैट इन अ मिनट. बट सलीम साहब, अभी बॉर्डर्स की बात हो रही थी और पाकिस्तान के ताउन की बात हो रही थी, तो ये ठीक है कि 40 साल से हमने मेज़बानी की है, तो लगता मुझे यूँ है कि मज़ीद 40 साल भी शायद हमें करनी पड़े. कोई हर्ज नहीं है उसके अंदर अगर दुनिया हमें सपोर्ट करे. तो पहले दुनिया की सपोर्ट की अगर आप हमें बता दें, मिल रही है हमें सपोर्ट या नहीं मिल रही है?
सपोर्ट तो पहले बहुत ज़्यादा मिल रही थी, अभी भी मिल रही है, लेकिन डिस्पाइट बेस्ट एफर्ट्स ऑफ आवर पार्टनर्स एंड फ्रेंड्स इन यूएनएचसीआर, इंटरनेशनल ग्लोबल जो पार्टनर्स हैं हमारे, वो इतना सपोर्ट अभी नहीं दे रहे बिकॉज ऑफ अदर्स रेफ्यूजी क्राइसिस ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. तो वो जो हमें दरकार था, जो प्रोटेक्टेड हमारा रेफ्यूजी इशू है, जिसमें इतनी उन्होंने ज़रा फोकस करना था, ज़रा हाईलाइट करना था, वो उस डिज़ायर लेवल पे नहीं है. बारकैफ हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि उसको फिर रीअवेक करें और उसको फिर रीइग्नाइट करें और जो हमारा ग्लोबल फोरम्स हैं उस पर उसको फिर उजागर करें. जहाँ तक आप कह रहे हैं कि भाई फ्यूचर क्या होगा, इसमें तलत साहब हमने अफगान नेशनल्स को 3 कैटेगरीज में बेसिकली डिवाइड किया है. वन इज़ प्योर अफगान रेफ्यूजीज, जो प्योर कार्ड होल्डर्स हैं, दे हैव बीन लुक्ड आफ्टर बाय पाकिस्तान एंड विद द सपोर्ट ऑफ यूएनएचसीआर. उसमें हमारी बड़ी सेंसिटिविटी है बिकॉज दे आर मैनेज एंड गवर्न अंडर 3 डिफरेंट एग्रीमेंट्स, द बायलैटरल एग्रीमेंट्स, ट्राइलैटरल एग्रीमेंट्स एंड क्वाड्रिलैटरल एग्रीमेंट्स. और अभी रिसेंटली जो हमने इनिशिएटिव स्टार्ट किया, जो क्वेश्चन आपने हाई कमिश्नर साहब से पूछा था, दैट इज़ अंडर एपैप्स, अफगानिस्तान पाकिस्तान एक्शन प्लान फॉर पीस एंड सॉलिडारिटी.
बड़ी उम्मीदें वाबस्ता हैं इसमें.
उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा उम्मीदें भी हैं और उसमें प्रोग्रेस भी हो रहा है. A series of meetings have been held. Last meeting was held on 22nd of July this year. उसमें we agreed on broad terms. उसमें जो हमारी proposals होंगी from both the sides, we will try to give our proposals. What timelines we be requiring, वो कहेंगे कि वो
roughly timelines क्या होंगी वैसे?
बिल्कुल एक hypothetically हम नहीं कह सकते, इसमें बड़ी डिटेलिंग्स होगी.
ठीक.
और उस डिटेलिंग्स में हमने कुछ वर्किंग भी किया है.
ठीक.
जिस तरह मैंने आपको अर्ज किया कि प्योर कार्ड्स वी आर मोर सेंसिटिव, वी हैव टू लुक एट द वन साइड, उनकी हाउ अकोमोडेटिव दे आर, हाउ द कंडीशंस ओवर देयर आर. इसलिए कि एक ट्रस्ट लेवल हमारा उनसे डेवलप हम करना चाहते हैं कि एक खुश उसलूबी के साथ ये
काम हो जाए. इतने अरसे से अच्छा काम किया तो उसको आखिर में आके बीच में.
और एक 2 कैटेगरीज जो हैं, एक हमने जिस तरह आपने जिक्र किया डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, they were those people who remained undocumented for the past 40 years. It was a government of Pakistan owned and government of Pakistan initiative, fully funded by the government of Pakistan, and in that we processed something like 900,000 Afghans for the first time, and very detailed documentation. So much so
राजी है कि इन सारों के पास they've got cards now.
This is a bit different from the pure card, which is a refugee card. This is an ACC card. Initially it is to give them an identity. उनकी vulnerabilities ख़त्म करनी थी. उनको हमने अभी facilitate करना है during the validity of ACC card कि वो वापस जाएं अफगानिस्तान में, and they can always come back. We will always welcome them and through a proper channel, under proper documentation, a passport, a proper visa issued by consulates.
पहले डॉक्यूमेंट के साथ आए जाए कोई नहीं है, बट डॉक्यूमेंट जो आधा एम्प्टी ग्लास है जो नहीं डॉक्यूमेंट हुए उसके ऊपर हम अभी आते हैं. बट यू नो वी मेड कंसिडरेबल प्रोग्रेस इन टर्म्स ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंटिंग दिस पीपल, गिविंग देम डॉक्यूमेंट्स.
elaborate.
मायरा साहब, अब और भी तो दुनिया में कॉजेज हैं, आप उसको चैंपियन कर लेती हैं. मैं आपके ट्वीट्स देख रहा था, कल पिक्चर्स देख रही थी. वाई रेफ्यूजीज क्यों, अफगान रेफ्यूजीज क्यों?
वेल आप सही कह रहे हैं, बहुत सारे और कॉजेज हैं, लेकिन यू नो सम थिंग्स जस्ट स्टिक विथ यू. और बहुत सारी चीज़ें आप खुद चूज़ करते हैं, लेकिन इस कॉज ने मुझे चूज़ किया और मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ कि इस कॉज ने मुझे चूज़ किया, क्योंकि मुझे ये पता था कि हाँ मुझे ये करना है. लेकिन जब आप ऑन ग्राउंड एक्चुअली जाते हैं तब आपको अंदाज़ा होता है, जैसे आपने कहा, आपको नहीं पता कि अब आप
कितनी अहमियत का काम है, क्योंकि ये सिर्फ यही रेफ्यूजीज नहीं है, दुनिया में और भी फैले हुए, लेकिन फिलहाल तो हम इनकी बात कर रहे हैं.
जी, मगर दुनिया में बट एक्चुअली इट इज़ अ मैटर ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, क्योंकि हम लोग ये गलत बात है कि हम लोग आइसोलेटेड एक चीज़ देखते हैं. जैसे कि मैं इन लोगों को सुन रही हूँ, यही बात हो रही है कि even if things, let's say we are working in Pakistan, does it mean anything if we don't have, if Afghanistan is not doing the same thing? So it's not an isolated situation.
आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या रहा जब ये एक्सपोजर टू रेफ्यूजी फैमिलीज यानी उनसे बात करते हुए, बच्चों से मिलते हुए, 3 जनरेशंस हो गई हैं, 40 years is a very long time, घर बार नहीं है, हर 2 सेकंड में एक दुनिया में एक बंदा जो है अपने घर बार से हाथ धो बैठता है, तो क्या आपका रिएक्शन क्या है?
Well, मैं कराची में भी गई to the camps. Actually कराची में मैं camps में गई. यहाँ भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था क्योंकि अभी हम लोग जब मिल रहे थे लोगों से तो उनमें से 2 ऐसे लोग थे जिन्होंने कहा हम लोग यहाँ 39 years से हैं, which is a very very long time. और फिर उनको देखकर ये सोचना कि वो यहाँ इसलिए हैं क्योंकि they will eventually not be a refugee. Today is the day. I mean कितनी बड़ी बात है. और वापस जा रहे थे तो और सबकी अपनी कहानियाँ हैं. एक चीज़ जो मुझे रियलाइज़ हुई, जो मैंने लिखी भी, वो ये है कि बहुत सारे लोगों ने मुझे कमेंट्स में भी लिखा कि ये क्या मतलब है, हमारे अपने इतनी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, मसाइल हैं.
ये है एक आर्गुमेंट पाकिस्तान का. We have got too many of our own problems. 40 years is a long time.
40 years is a long time, and that's a very common. That's the first question we were asked even in the press conference. कि नहीं जी आप हमें बताएं जाएंगे कब, या फिर हम क्यों इनके बारे में केयर करें. तो बात ये है कि ये हमारा मुल्क है, ये हमारा घर है, यहाँ जो भी आएगा और हम लोग हमने बहुत अच्छे मेज़बान रहे हैं, राइट. सो we have to look after them. We can't be indifferent to it.
But funding is the key. You know, the world is looking towards your organization and your organization, but then the world isn't really looking towards your organization when it comes to funding. I mean, are you happy with the kind of funding that you're getting and the response that you're getting from the wealthier nations?
Well, Mark can say even more about this, but I would say funding comes actually for us, but I think globally for UN and international organization, humanitarian funding is at very high levels. For the past couple of years, we've received more than $4 billion a year. The problem is that, unfortunately, you have, as the Chief Commissioner said, you have so many crises that absorb so much funding. You know, the Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh, not so far from here.
We also have Rohingyas here in Pakistan.
Here in Pakistan, in Syria, natural disasters. So this is the competition between these crises makes the longer crisis, like this one, 39 years, more difficult to bring to the attention of the world. But I think Bahira is so right. I think that the world has to understand that you cannot see these problems in isolation, that the instability in Afghanistan is a problem for Afghanistan, for the neighboring countries because of the refugee question and insecurity, but also globally. Look, there are Afghan refugees going all over the world these days.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important to look at it with not only, first of all, with humanitarian eyes. We must help them. And yesterday, the Prime Minister was very clear in interpreting the Pakistani humanitarian spirit, but also with strategic eyes, that if you don't solve this problem, if you don't support these people financially, if you don't find political solutions, they persist and then they become a real difficult problem that causes instability in the entire region.
So what you're saying is that funding isn't an issue, really?
No, funding is an issue, of course, because of this competition, and we have to go to the international community for more, for sure. But also I think it's the type of funding that we're looking for. Mark explained what we want to do, the UN would like to do to help Pakistan in the former Fatah. I think the same applies to the communities hosting refugees in this country. I think we need to look for funding that is longer term as well. You know, one of the young men I just met said something so good. He said, look, it's great that you're looking at funding here, but can we connect what you do here with what is done in Afghanistan? For example, educational investments. And I think, you know, he expressed it in his own words, but I think that that's the vision that we should have. So longer term funding. We need to bring in actors that are not just humanitarian actors, but developmental actors, longer term.
Your take.
the world is richer now than it's ever been before. There's a small minority of countries and people who are not benefiting from global progress. Because the world is richer, our fundraising this year will be better than it's ever been before, 20% more for the world as a whole at this stage this year than last year, $9.5 billion. But there are two problems. The first problem is that some crises have come out of the public eye. Afghanistan and the burden that the neighbours are bearing is one of those. And one of the big things Filippo and I will be doing is taking this story back to the world and reminding people there's an opportunity to make progress on solutions. And it's in the interest of the wider world, as well as part of our shared humanity, as you were saying, to contribute to those solutions. And then the other thing we do need to do is more than simply address the symptoms. We have to get to the root causes, get the economy moving in Afghanistan, deal with security. There's a big drought there at the moment, provide help to deal with that, and recognise that they're forming their own stable polity and they've got their own electoral process to go through, and be a little bit patient. It is possible to make progress, provided we tell a good story about how we can use the money to reduce suffering and provide solutions.
Who are you trying to tell this story to? Can you be more specific? Are you pitching this story to a particular group of countries in the north of the world, which is the richest or the richer? Or are they
So
areas, individuals? Who are you
So
pitching this to?
for the UN appeals, for which this year we've raised $9.5 billion, the bulk comes from governments, especially European governments and the US. This year we've had record levels of funding from governments in the Gulf, partly because of crises in the Middle East.
इस दौरान हम क्या करें? हम अक्सर ये कहते हैं कि जब ये प्लान हो जाएगा, जब अमन हो जाएगा, जब ये वापस जाना शुरू हो जाएंगे मुकम्मल तौर पर, इस दौरान हमारा प्लान क्या है?
Talib, we have a very comprehensive Afghan management and repatriation policy. Till the time they are here, especially the refugees who have been registered, they are being extended all sort of support. They have access to our public education, public health facilities. They are even allowed otherwise to have their own arrangements, businesses and livelihood. But all along, our main and the most preferred option has been voluntary repatriation. And for that, we have always been urging, and more recently now, with a more vigor, that all the developments, that even if you have any plans for development in Pakistan, even that we will be requested that even that should be converted or diverted to Afghanistan. We need some pull factors in Afghanistan. We need some development over there. We need conducive environment over there. Because we have met all the Afghan people, right? We had a meeting in the morning, and each and every one of them, they were willing to go back to their own country.
ये बड़ा ज़रूरी है बताना नाज़रीन को कि जो यहाँ पे मौजूद हैं रेफ्यूजीज़ वो सारे जाना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि एक आर्गुमेंट हमने ये अक्सर सुना है, जिस तरह आपने हमारा कहा कि लोग कहते हैं कि हमारे अपने बड़े मसाइल हैं, उसके बराबर में ये आर्गुमेंट है कि ये वापस ही नहीं जाना चाहते। आप उनको इतना इंसेंटिव यहाँ पे इनको मिल गया है कि अफगानिस्तान नहीं जाए, लेकिन आप फरमा रहे हैं कि सब वापस जाना चाहते हैं।
मोस्टली चाहेंगे वो इकोनॉमिक माइग्रेंट्स, so you can find them in any country, in any society.
हमारे अपने माइग्रेंट्स दुनिया भर में फैले हुए हैं, तो
Exactly जी, वो तो you cannot rule out 100% of those. But we have again introduced another policy which has been approved by the government, by the federal cabinet, that is known as flexible visa regime.
अगर उनको ये पता है कि वो वापस आ सकते हैं और ये लचकदार निज़ाम है हमारा, उनको फैसिलिटेट किया जाएगा, तो उनके खदशात बहुत सारे एड्रेस हो सकते हैं। हाईलाइट करने की बात है मायरा, अब ज़ाहिर है आप मेगा सेलिब्रिटी हैं, लोग आपको देखते हैं, आपको सुनते हैं, और अमूमन इस किस्म के खुश्क हालात हाज़रा के मौज़ूआत के ऊपर आप जैसे खुश शक्ल जो सेलिब्रिटीज़ हैं वो कम आती हैं, लेकिन अब आ गई, तो कोई ड्रामा सीरियल, कोई मूवी, रूट्स टाइप, टेलिंग पीपल व्हाट इट्स ऑल अबाउट, क्योंकि आपसे जो बात निकलेगी, योर narrative will be more effective.
Absolutely, but now you've nudged me into my area of expertise, and I feel really good a little bit, because the truth is, film, television, otherwise also, the stories that we tell are the stories that we know. I, before this, did not really know this. I've not been, surely I read about it, पढ़ा है, देखा भी है, लेकिन experience नहीं किया. जब आप कहानियाँ ये सुनेंगे, तो obviously आप फिर बनाएंगे. और ज़रूरी है बनाना, क्योंकि जिस तरह हम लोग बहुत सारी और चीज़ों की अब कहानियाँ आ रही हैं. And it's a huge thing, especially television पे बहुत सारे ऐसे serials बन रहे हैं जहाँ बहुत सारी important issues highlight हो रहे हैं. So I think this is an issue that definitely can be highlighted. In fact, I was watching so many. Wes Anderson had it in the Budapest Hotel, और इतनी खूबसूरती से उन्होंने एक scene डाला था जहाँ वो explain कर रहे थे कि refugee क्या होता है. So it was very, very beautiful. ज़रूर हम लोग ये कर सकते हैं. दूसरी चीज़, लोग 2 सेकंड ज़्यादा हमारी शक्लों पे ठहर जाते हैं, और क्योंकि वो हमारी शक्लों पे
ज़्यादा ठहरते हैं. हमारे पास फिगर्स हैं कि एंटरटेनमेंट इंफोटेनमेंट की रेटिंग्स क्या होती हैं, लिहाजा उसके ऊपर मैं आपको बता. ज़्यादा ठहरते हैं, सुनते हैं आपकी
जी, सुनते हैं. सो इफ़ वो चैनल चेंज ना करें, एंड दे कैन जस्ट, if I could even get that 2 seconds of extra time and what I'm saying goes through, then I've done my job is done for them. So yeah.
So you need more champions for the cause of refugees and internally displaced people. I mean, is that your takeaway from this trip and other trips as well?
Definitely, and you know what Mahira just said is so important. Because I'm not talking about Pakistan now. In fact, I'm talking more about the rich countries, in the very rich countries in the world, in Europe, in North America, where we see, unfortunately, a growth of sentiments, of feelings against foreigners, against refugees, against migrants. And I think that in many cases, the people who carry these feelings and the politicians that fuel these feelings do not really know about the realities of life of people that have to flee from war, from persecution, from violence. You know, people say, oh, refugees go abroad and steal the jobs of other people. You know, I always say, to choose to be a refugee is one of the most difficult choices that any human being can make. To leave behind everything that you have, maybe for many years. So if you know that reality,
you don't choose it.
And you don't choose it.
I mean, I wish that was a choice. It's
Exactly.
not a choice.
Or a decision, right?
Yes,
I will go tomorrow morning, sometimes
And become
leaving
a refugee
everything behind.
or internally displaced person.
So if you know
Nobody
that,
has to do this.
If you know that, you understand it better, and I think you are more prepared to help these people out also of a humanitarian spirit.
And one of the things you learn when you do what you do,
Yes.
and what we do, go and meet people who've been displaced or forced to flee from their countries, is that those people are exactly the same as you and Filippo and Mahira and all of us in every single material respect, except that life's lottery has been kinder to us than to them.
That's an important point that you
that's
make about life's lottery. कितना ज़बरदस्त टाइटल भी है, life's lottery.
That's,
life's lottery के ऊपर आप काम कर सकते हैं. लेकिन अमूमन ये होता है causes, ये नहीं है कि हमें कोई शक है आपकी कमिटमेंट पर. लेकिन आपका शेड्यूल भी बहुत बिजी होता है. आप ट्रैवल करती हैं, आप दुनिया भर में घूमती हैं, आप अपनी फिल्मिंग है, ड्रामा, सीरीज, उसमें से वक्त निकलेगा आप?
जी, निकाल रही हूँ. See, again, there are certain things that I might not be able to do. You know, there are certain things that I will tell them that, oh, maybe this I can't do, this I can't take out of my schedule. But the thing is that also, because I am in the position I'm in, the truth is I do have the power to take that time out. And thus I can, you know. So yes, I am in a position of relative, you know, it's a good position to be in where I can say, no, I have to go. And yes,
चलते एक स्टोरी बताया ना आपको, the moving story when you met the refugees. Tell us something that really touched your heart.
we met this man जो कि यहाँ, like I said, अब 40 साल से है, and वो वापस जा रहे हैं. And he said, now, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he say that he's got a new set of eyes as well? Because he's got his eyes fixed. He had an eye problem, but he's gotten it fixed. And I thought it was almost poetic. क्योंकि he is going back to his country, to the place where he was born, 40 साल बाद, और नई आँखों के साथ. He's like, आँखें भी अब fix करा ली, अब मैं वापस जा रहा हूँ. I mean, or it's just something that you feel like, wow, you are there to witness it. We are not in their shoes. May no one ever be in those shoes. Another thing which I'm sure they will talk about is what I was reading about is that, you know, we're slowly getting desensitized, just generally. Or yeah, of course we will, of course we will. We see it in the papers all the time. After a while, we'll just become numb to it. That's why it's so important that we keep on talking about it, keep on repeating the stories, because the outrage ends after one picture which sort of moves you, but what after that?
And we also have to end the story, because you don't want to test human compassion and the ability of people to relate to other people's tragedy, because there's too much of that, and you don't want to test that. Again, like all good things, this must also come to an end. Thank you very much for being with us and talking to us about a very important issue. Myra, बहुत आपको best of luck on behalf of our team with your endeavors. और सलीम साहब बहुत शुक्रिया आपने इसमें शिरकत की.